Welcome to my channel, The Historic State. In the crucible of military training, there are legends, stories whispered in hushed tones in the barracks late at night. Stories of instructors so tough, they seem forged from steel and fury. And stories of recruits who defy every expectation. But today, we tell a story that is more than a legend. It is a brutal, unforgettable lesson in humility, a tale of what happens when unshakable arrogance collides with a quiet, hidden lethality. This is the story of a drill instructor who thought he was the apex predator, and the silent recruit he tried to make an example of. He sneered at her, challenged her, and in front of his entire company, made the biggest mistake of his career. He was about to learn that sometimes, the most dangerous soldier in the room is the one you see the least. The air in the training pit was thick with the smell of sweat, sawdust, and fear. Gunnery Sergeant Gunny Cole, a man whose voice could strip paint from a wall, circled a lone recruit like a shark. Gunny Cole was a legend in his own right, a hardened veteran of multiple combat tours, a man who believed that soldiers were not born, but broken and remade in his own image. His training methods were brutal, his standards impossibly high, and his latest target, the source of his unending frustration, was a quiet, unassuming recruit in her late 20s named Sarah. To Gunny Cole, she was everything he despised about the new military: quiet, analytical, and, worst of all, a woman he believed had no place in an elite infantry unit. He had decided today he would finally break her. Understand the storm that was about to break. We must understand the woman at its center. Sarah, as she was known to the company, was a ghost. Her file was deliberately vague, listing her as a transfer from a quiet administrative logistics unit, seeking a transfer to a more active role. She was older than the other recruits, her presence quiet and observant. She wasn't the fastest on the runs, nor the strongest in the weight room. She did just enough to pass, never drawing attention, never excelling. The other recruits saw her as an oddity, a quiet woman who would likely wash out. They didn't see the cold, analytical mind behind her eyes, the years of experience hidden in her quiet efficiency. They didn't know she was there on a mission. A mission to observe, to evaluate, and to identify weaknesses not in the recruits, but in the instructors themselves. Gunny Cole saw Sarah's quiet competence not as a strength, but as a challenge to his authority. He singled her out relentlessly. He would scream in her face during inspections, searching for a single flaw. He would force her to do endless push-ups for imagined infractions. During a grueling obstacle course, he made her run it 3 times in a row, until she was gasping for air, her muscles screaming in protest, all while he mocked her for her lack of grit. But he never got the reaction he wanted. She never cried, never complained, never broke. She simply met every challenge with a cold, quiet determination that infuriated him even more. Her endurance was not just physical, it was tactical. She was gathering data. And Gunny Cole was giving her everything she needed. Which brings us back to the pit. Cole, his patience finally gone, decided to humiliate her in a way she couldn't ignore. He would prove her physical inferiority in front of everyone. "All right, recruits," he roared, his voice dripping with condescending sarcasm. "Today, we have a special demonstration on what happens when you mistake quiet insolence for strength. This recruit here thinks she's tough, so let's see it." He turned to her, a cruel smirk on his face. "Get in a combat stance. I'm going to teach you a lesson." The entire company held its breath. Gunny Cole, a man who outweighed Sarah by 100 pounds of pure muscle, bounced on the balls of his feet, a predator toying with its prey. He lunged, throwing a fast, powerful right hook aimed at her head. And then, it happened. In a blur of motion so fast it was almost impossible to follow, Sarah didn't retreat. She moved into the attack, ducking under the punch with fluid grace. As his arm passed over her head, she pivoted, grabbing his wrist with one hand and his elbow with the other. With perfect leverage and a terrifying cold precision, she twisted. A sickening, wet crack echoed through the dead silent pit. Gunny Cole let out a raw guttural scream of pure agony and collapsed to the ground, clutching his arm, his bone clearly broken. In stunned silence. The recruits stared, their jaws hanging open. The other instructors were frozen in place, their faces a mask of utter disbelief. Sarah stood over the whimpering, defeated Gunny Cole, her expression unchanged. Then, slowly, with a deliberate, almost theatrical calm, she reached down and rolled up the sleeve of her right arm. And there, stark, against her skin, was the tattoo. A simple, terrifying symbol that every soldier in that pit recognized instantly. A dagger, set within a triangle. The insignia of the U.S. Army's most elite, most secretive, and most lethal Special Operations Unit. 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta. Delta Force Nen. Just as the shocked whispers began to erupt, a figure strode into the pit. It was Colonel Wallace, the base commander, a man rarely seen outside of his office. He walked past the injured, groaning Cole as if he were a piece of trash. He stopped directly in front of Sarah. "At ease, Captain," he said, his voice calm but authoritative, shocking the recruits even further. He then turned to the stunned, silent company. "For the past 6 weeks," Colonel Wallace announced, his voice ringing with authority, "you have known this soldier as Recruit Sarah. Her real name is Captain Sarah Ghost Jenkins. She is one of the most decorated operators in Delta Force. She was sent here on my direct orders to evaluate the effectiveness and conduct of our training staff." "Gunnery Sergeant Cole," he said, his voice dropping to an icy chill as he finally glanced at the man on the ground, "your evaluation is now complete. Medics, get this failure out of my pit." The fallout was immediate. Gunnery Sergeant Cole was dishonorably discharged. The entire training program was overhauled, with a new focus on rooting out toxic leadership and outdated prejudices. Captain Sarah Ghost Jenkins disappeared as quietly as she had arrived, her mission complete. But her story became the ultimate legend at that base, a brutal, unforgettable cautionary tale whispered to every new instructor. You never, ever know who you're training. Thank you for watching The Historic State. If this incredible story of hidden strength and the ultimate humbling of a bully moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Because here, we believe that true strength isn't about how loud you can shout, but about the silent, lethal power you hold in reserve.